We still have audio, guys? What do you think? Clean yourself off from the rough day of cleaning this? You didn't even clean up, dude. You showed up pretty well after the party. You gonna tell him, Tiny? You're just gonna pretend you don't know? Yep, she doesn't know anything. So time to tackle the radio. You know, you might be wondering, well, why would you do that? Radio's simple. You buy the adapter harness, plug it in, throw it in here. Well, that's normally the case, except that's our harness. So something I learned about this truck is apparently the shop it was at that the deceased owner left it, I guess when they learned he was deceased, they went to part it out, is my understanding, because it was missing things like the fuel filter. This has been swapped in. It's not even to this truck. The harness for it was cut. There were some lines unscrewed, you know, like they were going to take it off without damaging it and sell them. But anyway, that's a long story. So back on topic. Since we're building this thing with an 18-year-old's budget, I went ahead and robbed this out of another truck. This is from another truck. This radio is from another truck. And true to teenager tradition, we're gonna make it fit with this dash kit that's currently on it. I believe it's for a GMT 800 Chevy, the 99s and up, not this body style. All right, time for the fun part. I had to strip and crimp all 15 of these to all 15 of these. So what I used, real quick before we start, I use these little butt connectors. They're the smallest ones you can get. They're heat shrink style, and they seem to work perfect for the radio installs. These red ones, they work, but you run the risk of it pulling out of the wire. You got to double up the wire, and it's just more of a headache. It's easier finding those smaller ones. So I did a couple of them. I did strip a couple. It's hard. It's no fun. But we're just going to get this over with because I really want a radio, and that's really the motivation for this. So anyway, radio is super important to me. I won't drive one without a radio. I don't care if it's missing AC, the windshields, whatever. If it doesn't have a radio, I'm not going to be liking it. So that's just how I've been going in there and cutting them. It's not fun. It's not relaxing. And the angle I have to be at to get in there really honestly kind of hurts. So but we're getting it. We're getting there. On a positive note, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. We're in a lot worse position than last time you saw me a second ago. I didn't get any footage of crimping these together because my big fat head was in the way. But I got it all together. Didn't have front speakers. Replaced the speakers with new ones that I had that I know worked. Still didn't have anything, so I decided, well, I'm going to give it a shot. If I have to cut up in here to get the harness out, I will. Luckily, I didn't have to on this truck. So what I had to do, pull the CD player out. The harness just plugs in on the back. Had to fish the harness through here, and it comes up through here, and then comes out this way. And where I screwed up, if I can get it all untangled, was I was trying to tie the speakers into the CD player, and that's not going to work. But now I have a better view. I can tell what color is what, because when it was in that little hole, you can't tell. There's not enough light, even with a flashlight and stuff. It's not the right kind of light. I'm gonna go through here, kind of clean this up, sort it out, and we're just gonna start over. All right, so it looks like where I'd left you before, but it's actually been many frustrating hours later. Went ahead, got it all tidied up, run back the way it should have. And what I'd been battling the whole time had been a combination of stuff I did and stuff that somebody had done before me with this truck. I actually had about 3 wires wrong. I finally got them all sorted out, and then I realized, you know, I don't have front speakers, which that was kind of throwing me off too. Well, what had happened is the speakers were bad, and on top of that, they weren't plugged in. This side, they had replaced this inner door panel for some reason. I don't know why. And for the tweeter, they had duct taped the junction for the tweeter and the speaker. It was all duct taped together. I don't really care about the tweeter. These are aftermarket. These are Infinity speakers. It sounds pretty good with them, so I just bypassed all that. Put some of these deals on, which I need to heat shrink them still. I'll do that when I put the door back together. This passenger side door, and yeah, in case you're wondering, someone glued that in there. More handiwork from the last guy or whoever worked on this. Anyway, this side, it did work, but the connection was bad with the speaker connector. Someone had left it undone. It got a bunch of corrosion in it, so when I sat there and wiggled it around, finally got it to work. Other than that, you know, it's ready to go in. I think I'm going to go ahead and throw my diesel cluster in. And I know the tack isn't going to work, but we'll cover that later. I know how to make the tack work. Figured I'd show you. I'll put the diesel cluster in. And these clusters are easy. There's no plugs or anything to undo. You just do the 4 7mm screws, pull it straight back, put the new one in, just push it in. All there is to it. So you can tell, like I said earlier, this is a diesel cluster. And I'm about to see if it works. Appears to work. So do my turn signals. So we're missing the right bulb. That's alright. Do the lights work? I don't know. We'll figure that one out. I know the tack isn't going to work. So the big blocks are driven off the ignition, the distributor. The diesels run off the alternator. There's a white wire back there you snip, run it to one of the ports on the alternator, and you'll have a tack. And we'll go over that later. But right now, you know, I just want to get my radio in, cruise down the road, listen to some tunes, and have a speedometer that reads right. These have an issue where the motors go bad and they start to drift. The speedometer on this, it'd read right to a certain point, and then it would start going a lot faster and faster. And, you know, just running 70 would have the speedometer buried. The tack would read about 700 RPM too high, and all these other gauges would read high. But right now, they seem like they're reading dead on, except for the tack. At least according to what the ECM is telling me through the OBD2 versus, you know, the clusters. Well, we're at the part where all you guys are going to get really mad and call me a hack if you already hadn't. So I remember I said 18-year-old budget. Well, you see, this has the doubled in installation kit already attached to it. It's for a newer Chevy, 99 to 2000. This is an old body style, not a new that this is supposed to go in. But luckily, it's a doubled in sized hole. Well, when you're 18 and you got a budget, you're gonna spend $25 on the correct, you know, install kit, or you're gonna spend the $25 and go drink with your buddies or go make babies with your girlfriend. We all know the answer to that, and that's the direction I'm gonna go. All right, this is the point where you guys are probably gonna stop watching or think I'm a hack, and that's fine. This is my truck, not a customer's, so I don't really care about perfection on this. I just want it to work. So put these wires where they don't get hung up on stuff. I'm gonna send her on home. Not done yet. I gotta coil all this stuff up. More handiwork from someone else. I didn't do that. I don't use heat shrink like that. I just use those marine butt connectors. But anyway, gonna slap her on in there, maybe. Oh, look at that. Taking out that CD player gave us more room for the wires. Who'd have thunk? Just like that, we're in. A working radio. I'll figure something out for that. Pretty easy. I'm sure some of you probably think this guy's crazy, but really not. This was loose with the old, well, with the no radio in it. Got plenty of room in there for the wiring. I think I can buy a factory cubby or block off plate or whatever they call that, where the CD player went. The radio isn't going anywhere. The tabs sit flush. I'm sure it'll have a gap, but you know, I'm not worried about it. Money I saved, we can go buy a case of beer or go make kittens with the girlfriend, you know. 18-year-old budget, it's what you do. Same with the cluster. $40 cluster from the junkyard. I can spend $170 to $300 to have my old one rebuilt, or I can go all out and spend about $1,100 and have the custom one put in, which I'm not opposed to that, but we're making this a budget build, so we're not going to go that way. All right, we got that nightmare out of the way. Got the door panel slapped on. It went on okay. I still need to take it off and trim behind where the speaker hole is. It's pushing out the panel a little, but that's not a big issue. I'll do that later when I fix the lights and some other little stuff on it. Got this nightmare sorted out. I literally have about 7 hours into figuring out the wiring, putting the speakers in, troubleshooting. Just to be honest with you, that was a nightmare. Some of it was the previous owner, some of it was me not putting wires right. But we got it, it's in. It's nice and solid. I can push the buttons. This is a little bit crooked, but they broke the mounting points to it, so it's just all kind of crammed in there. It's not going anywhere. I'll go to the junkyard and get the stuff for this. I think a little coin tray or something goes in there. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've been around one of these trucks. And last time I was around one of these trucks, it was about 8 years old, so it was a fairly new truck. Got our frilly things frilling again. Someone will see that and think they can steal my purse. Cluster's in, it's working. I've had this thing idling for a little bit. I'm happy to have a working temp gauge and an accurate fuel gauge. Oil pressure's a little jittery, but as long as it's not reading 0, we're good. It's got a light out in it, I think, or maybe it came back. Hey, the light came back, cool. So it doesn't have a light out. The tach actually reads something, which surprised me because I didn't think it'd read anything. And in the process, the truck lost 102,000, I think. And I know you guys are gonna be like, oh, that's illegal. You rolled back the odometer. Well, yeah, it is illegal. But I'm not gonna sell it, you know, rolled back. I'll send the old odometer with it when it gets sold, and you know, we have the videos as proof on YouTube. So there's that too. So no matter what engine you have in here, as long as you're using this alternator, it should give you an accurate reading on your tach. So step 1, you're going to want to see if you have any AC voltage at this first connector. If you had a gas engine, you're not going to have anything here. It'll just be blank. But we'll get to that in a minute. And you'll want to put on AC, not DC, but AC voltage while it's running to see if you have any kind of voltage there. And make sure this wire, the other wire, is plugged in. You have to get creative to get down in there, but it can be done. Once you determine that you do have voltage, then you can proceed. Okay, so you can do this 2 ways. You can either rob the connector off a 6.5 that's already got all your terminals in there, and it'd be sort of plug and play. You'd have to splice in your wire. Or you do what I did. I got the 6.5 plug and I depinned it and put my pin into my existing plug. And to depin them is very easy. All you need's a paper clip. You put the paper clip in that very top part, right where the end of my dirty old fingernail is, up in there. You insert it, leave it in there, take the protective cap off, which is this, and it just snaps on the sides. It's like a safety, keep the pins in. But once you have your paper clip in there and it's released, it'll just pull right out real gentle. And if you have to try and tug at it, then reposition your paper clip and just keep trying until it comes out. But they come out. Once that's out, all you do is make sure you slide it in the right way. You slide it in, let it clip, pull on it, and when it's good, it's good. And then we'll just slide our safety back on. So your next step is you're going to want to run a wire, which I'm not totally done yet, and get it back up under the dash. I chose to go through the shift column boot, just put a little slice in there and go through. And when I'm done, I'll just put some RTV, smear some on there. It'll seal it up again. This is a working truck, not a show truck. So doing it like that didn't hurt my feelings. You might opt to do something else, drill through or something, but that's how I did it. Next step, you'll want to go inside, pull off your cluster, and when you get to this point, this is real simple. Pull out this plug. You push the little releases in, and it should pop right out just like that. So what you're going to be looking for is you're going to notice that there's a section with a bunch of pins and a section with none. Starting down here, according to the manual, is pin number 1. You want to look for pin number 6, and it's a white wire, and 6 is this one right here. And as you can tell, pin 6 has a white wire. That's the wire you're going to want to splice into. So this wire will be the one that we splice into at the alternator. You're going to splice it into pin 6. And it looks intimidating because there's a plastic wall back there, but when you go fish it down, fish it this way, and it'll come out right there. And then I just fished it down through under the dash. Very simple. So then once you do all that, reassemble your dash, and before you tighten up anything, just to make sure you don't have loose connections, start the truck and make sure your tack works. Since we have the cluster out, let's go ahead and put some LEDs in it. This is what I'm using. The Yorkum. You can get them from the Jungle website. I think they're Gen 5. This is the part number. I've used these with lots of success. They're about $1 a piece. Yeah, they're Chinese, but you know, I've had good luck with them. We're probably gonna end up doing the whole truck with these. But I figured since we have this guy out, let's go ahead and swap it over. It's pretty easy, you just have to be careful. And I'm not squeezing these. You just need something to twist these. Be very careful because of that circuit board paper. Plastic is pretty thin. There it is. So they're just 194 bulbs. Yeah, I'm doing it one-handed. So these are what these look like. That's what these look like. To my knowledge, from the past experience, they're not reverse polarity or polarity sensitive. That's what the word is. So they'll just go in either direction. You pop it in. Be careful when you go back together. Just twist them and you're done. Okay, so this deal behind the dash, you're just going to push these clips in like this to pull it out. And what you want to do, according to the manual, is when it's flipped like this, with the smaller set of prongs on the bottom and the larger number on top, it says that this one down here is number 1. You're looking for pin 6, which is this one. And it's a white wire, according to the factory service manual. So you're going to take that wire and hook it up to your alternator, and you should have a tack then, and that should run your diesel powered tack. I don't know, we'll find out. I didn't film it all because I'm still not for sure it'll work, but if it does work, I'll make it kind of like its own video on how to wire this up, because it was really difficult to find any real start to finish info on how to do this. And there you have it. If everything's hooked up right, you should have a working tack. Now this should work, if you use that alternator, the GM alternator, this should work for any engine swap you're doing. Whether it's a diesel swap, Cummins, Detroit, whatever, LS, a big block into a diesel. As long as you have that alternator, you should be able to make your factory tack work. If you saw the first video, that was the first time I drove this truck, other than doing the burnout about 6 months before. And the only work I've done to this truck is the work I've done that I've recorded that you guys have seen. Other than that, I haven't touched it. So what you're seeing here, all this nastiness on the dash, most of the crap in here, I'd say most of that was in here when I started driving the truck, and all I did was throw my stuff in and start driving. Got a bunch of dirt there, iPhone case, half-eaten Pop-Tarts, and proof that I really haven't cleaned this. I mean, that's just dirt. There's dirt there. Well, if the camera picks it up. You're gonna think I'm a slob. A bunch of trash down there. Empty lighter from the last guy, gum, tools. I mean, this thing is trashed, and I didn't help it. There's a whole pile of parts there that I honestly really never went into. I just kind of grouped them there so I wouldn't break anything and threw my tools in. So I went and grabbed some gloves. These fit me, and they're thick. And the best part is, they were free. Goes along with our budget build. Can't complain about that. So anyway, what are you doing? Now you want to help. If only you had thumbs. Just coming through here still. Another Tractor House magazine. Oh yeah, I remember what that was for. Nuts, bolts, empty gum wrapper, a cat, come here. There you go. I guess the last guy must have been a smoker. Set that up there, some wire. Watch out, kitty. I guess she's gonna want me to remove her. All right, stand by. Well, the cat doesn't want to be removed. She'll get tired of trying to play with my hand. Anyway, still doesn't smell, but man, there's a lot of crap in here. Finding a lot of the missing parts I needed. I'm guessing that's to a blower motor, Parmesan cheese. No, you don't want to eat that. Some wire, set that aside. I always keep that really thin gauge wire because it comes in handy when you have to patch stuff on these newer trucks. I guess that's to this. Oh, the CD player. I'll have to eBay that one. Hey, there's the deal for our steering column. Cat. Another bolt. Dude, what are you doing? No. She hadn't seen me in a week, so I guess she's excited. More crap. Here's where the fun begins. Let's see what we got down here. Buc-ee's. Boy. All kinds of goodies. And I didn't put this in here. Sears Roebuck 1909. Boy, I think all those people are long gone. Buc-ee's, crackers, like checking it like I'm gonna eat it or something. Another relay. Another tail light. And another text. Oh hey, screws are in it. Sweet. I wasn't gonna film the driver's side, but I found some interesting stuff, so maybe the trend will continue. And before we call the last guy a smoker, I forgot this one's mine. I don't smoke. I use these lighters for the butt connectors, heat shrink. I can get up in there and not melt everything or set the truck on fire. Anyway, I can eat, a sampler of what I've been eating. We've got a Swiss roll that I guess fell between the seats. I thought I'd eaten it. Burrito wrappers. Last guy liked British Sterling cologne. Let's just see what else we find. Intake gasket stuff. Now I know this is from me. McDonald's receipt, corn dog wrapper. That looks like, what do you call it? It looks like that thing. Huh, I wonder if they had trouble with it. Maybe that's why they took out that deal. The HVAC controls, napkins, more wrappers. Good Lord, what we got here? Got a cup, a tin. Yum. Not mine, not mine. Burrito wrapper's mine. These are mine. Oh, look, money. Look at that, Tiny. We're rich. Here's your tip. No. Swiss roll wrapper. Well, wasn't as interesting as I thought it would be. I wouldn't eat any of that, Tiny. Get this thrown out. Not the money, of course. And we'll move on to the back. Figured it'd be better, but it wasn't. While I'm down here, I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but these came with factory footwell lights. I don't know where it went. There it goes. They go up here. I'm going to go ahead and put the remainder of my blue LEDs in it, if I can see it. Try to do this through the camera. Yeah, I mean, they're blue. The dash cluster is blue. Let's just keep up the blue. I think that's in there. Do they work? Apparently they don't work. Or maybe I don't have it in there right. But anyway, yeah. It's kind of a quick tip. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Yeah, it should be, I don't know if there's one there. There's my brake controller. But I know there's one on the other side. And I have just enough left to do them. Looks pretty cool at night. But if you guys didn't know that, I think that's on all of these trucks up till 2002, even the new body style. And then 03s when they made them junk. But yeah, just cool little tidbit in case you didn't know that. Figured we'd go through this pile of parts together. Other than this mirror, which you saw in the first video, I've never gone through that whole pile of parts, so let's do it. So we got, looks like an ashtray. Dude, knock it off. Another column cover. Looks like the visor to that, which I think I did replace it. I don't know why I replaced it. This one's in better shape. I don't know. I'll put it back though. I'd rather have the fancy one. Empty box of gloves. Good things I got a free pair. One of my gloves. Another ashtray, I think. Huh. I don't know. Alternator. Doesn't sound real happy. Milwaukee battery, that's mine. Boy, this guy and his door latches. I don't get it. Got another one. I don't think it's that vent over there. I don't know. Mine, mine, mine. That's also mine. The pink hammer is mine. If you own pink tools, not a soul will ever ask to borrow them, and they'll never disappear. My tip for the day. Circuit board for something. Oh no. I'll look up that number later. I'm sure it doesn't work. That's mine. This part looks familiar. The Ford. I can't remember what it is, but I know I've replaced those before. In a past life. I don't remember if this is to this. I don't think it is. Maybe it is. Doesn't look like it works, but I'll throw it in the spare pile. Don't know. Not well versed on these trucks, so I don't know what belongs to this and what doesn't. Don't believe this might belong to one of these, but there's no cruise control. Again, I don't know. My seal driver, that is mine. The cat's mine. I don't know how that ended up in here. Hey, it has a floor mat. Cool. Still trashed. Do you guys see anything down there? Ooh, what is this? Oh, it's from Christmas. Hopefully you guys can hear me. It's pretty windy out. I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the bed. I'd say about a quarter of this stuff is mine. The rest is not mine. If you want to skip ahead to where I get to the cleaning, that's okay too. But in a lot of videos where they start picking through the stuff, they're like, oh, we'll come back. And it's always interesting to look through here because it tells a story on the truck. And I figured I'd bring you guys along. So if you're bored, skip ahead. If not, we'll see what we got here. So this is the mirror that had the screw sticking out. Like you saw in the first video. I don't know where the other mirror came from. I think we'll kick it aside. Might need some parts off it. Oh yeah, in case you're wondering, I did add some of this to the oil. 1972, just like a thickener. Figured, you know, big blocks from 1970, let's give it some vintage oil. I needed to get rid of it. Why did I throw that out? I'll dig it back out. Usually you can sell those cans. Get $5 a piece. Old hose. Don't need it. My power steering fluid. This stuff's really old. Type F. Is there a date on it? Made in the USA. You don't see that anymore. Another can of this. This will need to go in the scrap pile. Brake shoe off this. I'm kidding. It's off a Meritor rear end, 40,000 pound. Got it all cleaned up. That's all my stuff that needs to go back in the shop. Nothing interesting. Well, not really. One thing I thought was interesting though was this is the fuel pump out of this truck. It literally appeared to be original. It had a GM sticker on it before I hit it with the brake cleaner to clean stuff up. And it still had the factory harness, which I thought that was neat. That kind of goes with the idea that I don't think this truck has as many miles as it said. A bunch of plugs I found. I don't know why someone did that. Found the old blower motor. It's kind of locked up. I don't know if it locked up in the truck or from sitting out here. My old injectors. And then here's a tipping point for a lot of people. This is a big argument, but I'll explain the reason behind it. So that's how I did the fuel pump. And when we get to it later in one of the later videos, we'll put a cover here and I'll give you the measurements on where to cut. Put in the new harness. So several things here because I know it's going to be brought up. Yes, I did put a precision pump in it. It was $100, or my cost was $100. I have a commercial account. Versus 200 for the, what do you call it, the Delphi. Reason I went with this is the budget build, and two different parts guys both told me they've never had comebacks on these. So, you know, I take their word for it, and they have told me stuff not to buy. Don't buy this, don't buy that. We have a high return rate. So I'm going to take their word for it. So shout out to O'Reilly's for, you know, being an honest company, hiring honest people. I kind of just went with the grinder. Kind of did it where I thought it was because I was in a rush between jobs, like I said. So that's why this thing's all screwed up. But we'll fix it. I'll find another bed to cut a big piece out of, put it over so the ribs and everything mesh, and do it right. And the reason I did it this way, I know everyone's like, oh, it's not hard to drop the tank or pull the bed off. It's super easy. Well, this truck is a working truck. It might be 300 or 400 miles from home at like 8 p.m. Isn't that right? You know how late I come in sometimes. I hate to break it to you, but no one's going to want to drop the tank or pull the bed off in the O'Reilly's parking lot or wherever at 8 p.m. 300 miles from home. This is simple. I take off the hatch, pull off the lines, the clip, the snap ring, pull it out, put it back in, 15 minutes tops, and I'm back on the road. I know this might trigger some people's OCD or whatever, but this is how I roll. It's how I do things. I'm all about, you know, function. I don't care how it looks like. I don't care how hack or whatever it is. This is how I do it. Every truck I have is like this. Every truck I'm going to have is going to be like this. But for those of you that think like I do, we all know how great this is and a time saver. I mean, I like working on this stuff, but I value my time, and I'm not going to be messing around with some stupid design where I got to pull the tank and waste my whole afternoon when 15 minutes I'm done and I can go move on with my life. But enough of that ranting. This bed doesn't look too bad. Wasn't a whole lot of stuff in here. If you saw the first video, the cupcake was still in here and I threw it out. So here's what we have so far. Everything's cleaned out except for the little pile on my seat. It's pretty nasty. This is gross. That's like not worn down, it's just matted. It's like grease, tar. Same with the steering wheel. Same with that. Pretty well the whole truck. And to think I was driving down the road like this, just grin on my face, thrilled because this truck drives pretty good. I want to pull the carpet out and pressure wash it, but being the middle of winter, it probably wouldn't dry for 5 months. So I'm going to see what I can do with it. Again, really nasty. Should be called the nasty truck. More nasty. More nasty. I don't know, I think some days when I came home with this truck, it was a competition of who was nastier, my coveralls or the truck. Anyway, you guys get the message. I'm going to get back there and I'm going to show you how we're going to cut this out. I think what I'm going to do, sorry for the bad angles, I don't know where my tripod went. I'm so unprepared. I'm just going to pull the fabric. I guess she's going to help me. You going to help, Tiny? I mean, this whole thing's got to come out at some point anyway, so let's just start like this. I don't have any more pent-up rage. I don't work for the public school system anymore. So I'm not going to rip this out in one pull. But if you guys have worked for the public school system, then you understand. Any more? Here we go. Just going to yank it out. Man, if it comes out in one piece like that, it'll make my day. Watch out, guys. Look at this. I've been wanting to do this for I don't know how long. This, guys, is why I didn't vacuum before pulling this out. Even though I almost did. Hopefully you guys are getting the same joy out of watching me rip this up as I am doing it. I know it's not the totally correct way, But we're not going back in the totally correct way either, so I don't know what this build is about. Doing it at home like the average Joe. So I'm holding the camera with one hand. I'm trying to balance them, like sticking halfway out of the truck. In case you're wondering why I'm making all these weird noises, it's kind of hard. Oh, look at that. Got it all out. There's my headliner on the floor. Look at this come out. That's about as far as I can zoom out, guys. Part of me wants to get a little torch out or hair dryer, but I'm pretty sure I might set this thing on fire if I do that. Okay, it's gonna take two hands from here on out. But you guys get the idea. I'm just gonna peel it all out like that. I've never seen one come apart like that. Really makes my day. Well, here's where we stand at the moment. Got the headliner mostly all out. We're down to the board now. There's still some of this stuff left, but when I do the actual headliner, you know, it'll be a lot easier. I just peel that stuff off when this backing board's out of the truck. I know it looks terrible, but finished product will be good. I just got to do it on a really warm, when we have consecutive warm days. Interior cleaned up good. I mean, it's not perfect. All I did was vacuum it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go do some cleaner, some detailing spray. Get little things like this cleaned up. I already tried, because I was curious, I want to see what the seats would do. So I hit it with the steam cleaner over there. And these seats, they're just so worn out. That's like roofing tar or something ground into it. Couple holes. Just a lot of wear, cigarette burns. And to be honest, where I cleaned it versus where I didn't, there's no difference. So I'm not going to waste my time on the seats. I'll throw a seat cover on it. And the carpet, there's hope for it. It'll actually clean up good. And I'll show you here in a minute. In case you're wondering what I'm using, this is the stuff I'm using. I think it came off something off TV or something. I stole some from my mom once just to get by when I was trying to detail a car. And I was so amazed with how well it worked that I continue using it. Not a marketing for them or anything, but it's rare when you find one of those items, you know, it kind of seems like a gimmick that on TV that works. Anyway, I'm going to show you how well this stuff cleans up. Kind of agitated a little. I know some people are really into this. And it is kind of cool watching this thing go from just totally nasty to nice and clean. I don't know if we'll get it in there, but, you know, we'll try it anyway. Alright, here it goes. Might be a little loud. And just an FYI, I don't like putting music in my videos. I like hearing the raw sounds of everything going on. Might speed it up, but you'll still get the raw sound. Here's another spot this stuff shines. It should just eat that stuff right off. I'm doing it one-handed. That's awesome. Wanted to get you guys close in so you could see it. It just usually just melts that right off. Unless it's exceptionally nasty like this one is. Yeah, you can see I'll have to get the whole panel now because I let it run down. Good example. I feel like a salesman for this stuff now. But I'm not. I think it's cool how well it works. And I think that was like 20 bucks, $15. Again, it's budget. We're cheap here. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. I'll have to go through here, spray this stuff all over the panel. But that's okay. The dash cleaned up good. We'll do a walkthrough once I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and do all 4 doors. Maybe I have these 2 parts in the box. I think I did. Try to get them on. Get that deal on, and I'll show you the finished product here in a minute. Alright guys, here's the finished product. We're ready to throw it on Marketplace for $25,000. No low ballers, I know what I got. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to list it or anything like that. If I do sell it, it's going via eBay or a local auction here. To be honest with you, it seems like a $5,000 truck, maybe more, being it's 4x4 and has a new transmission. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to call this a detailing fail. So I allotted myself a couple hours to get this done. And once I got in here, I mean, there's just, I don't even know where to start. Just a lot of work that's got to be done. Real tedious stuff. Like scrubbing them. Usually I'll use like a nylon bristle brush to get in there, get them. I like to clean up all of this stuff. Clean up the carpet for sure. I'll have to pull it. Need to wash the cat. Stuff like this is roofing tar. It's sticky. I have to put a headliner in. And, you know, it's self-explanatory. Pretty well, I just put lipstick on a pig by, you know, wiping down the dash and everything and the door panels. I mean, this came out okay, but I know if I sit here and work on it and just over and over again, all these little imperfections I'll get out. Same with all this down here. It's just, you have to take something and just go through and just pull it all out. The seats, they need seat covers. It's just wear. I have no idea what's going on over there. Gauge cluster came out good. The dash, radio and stuff. Sorry, somehow I hit pause with my thumb. Anyway, these I haven't decided if I want to recover them or just find some new ones. Go to the junkyard. I know you can make the new body style fit here if you cut some stuff up in here. I did read that. We might do that if we score some cheap ones. I know where there's one of those trucks at. I just don't know how good the visors are. The guy doesn't care as long as it'll run down his property. Yeah. Be honest though, yeah, in my opinion, this is a fail as far as detailing. It's just a lot of work. Not that I'm not willing to do it, it's just a lot more work than I had planned for today. But we got it cleaned up. It's presentable. You can work out of it. It's not a biohazard. And the best part is I think I have about $25 in it. So, anyway, guys, next video we'll work up front. I know I have some front end issues. I don't know if it's ball joints, tie rod ends, or what, but it's pretty ragged under there. I know we have some power steering leak. Show you what I found on the engine that's wrong. So we'll do that next. Maybe throw some LED lights and everything. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of long, but you know, I'm going to show all the process of getting this thing up and going for cheap. So anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, and check out my other videos, guys, and feel free to share these. Appreciate the comments on all my videos and appreciate you guys watching. So, till the next video, thanks for watching.